So welcome back to Third Rate Content. Today we're in one of the suburbs of Shrewsbury, but a suburb that used to be a village in its own right, and it was named in the Doomsday book as a village, so it's been here a long time. This might give away where we are if anybody you knows Shrewsbury, and I'll tell you now, we're in Shelton, and this is the iconic Shelton water tower that's visible from all over Shropshire if you see it from the right location. And it's a real landmark, and we're just here on the Holyhead Road leading out of Shrewsbury, but we'll talk about that in a moment, so buckle up and I'll see you out here. Yeah, Shelton Water Tower is attached or on the compound of Severn Trent Water, which has its offices and some works just here behind the fence. Yeah, that very, very typical waterboard house there. And it is actually a beautiful water tower, really. And I always think there is something about water towers, whether they're the futuristic type or this kind of Art Deco-y style one here. They do have an atmosphere, an atmospheric look, I think is the right word.
An allure is the word I was actually looking for. And this example of a water tower was built in the 1930s.
Yeah, and I actually, as a child, when I was about 8, we were doing a project at primary school on water and water treatment, and we actually visited the Shelton Water Tower, and I've actually been to the top there and walked all around it. It's pretty empty inside it, or it was when I went in 1988, I think it was. Yeah, and here we have the North Wales Road, or otherwise known as the Holyhead Road. We have talked about it quite recently because this was the Thomas Telford Road that linked up London with Holyhead, so that the MPs from Ireland could get to and fro Parliament, basically. We're going to take a loop today. We're going to walk into Shelton, what was Shelton Village, just to the right, around there, and then we're going to go all the way down and then back here with a bit of a talk about a lost and gone another historical landmark that was known around Shrewsbury for years and years, hundreds of years. We'll talk about it later though. Got sort of a newish build down there. It's very nice though. And right next to it you've got this really old dwelling. This looks like it could have been here since the early days of the Holyhead Road, possibly. Nice cottages down there, very pleasant. So this building was the former vicarage for Shelton and nearby. Yes, it was Shelton and Oxon the vicarage was for, and it was a pretty big vicarage though, wasn't it? Massive, more like a hotel. I don't know if it's been extended, but it's now a Hungry Horse pub, dining pub. Beer garden and outside seats, because today is Sunday the 12th of March, and just this week we had snow. We were snowbound, and now it's gone as quickly as it went, and it actually feels quite spring-like today. Bit windy, but you can definitely feel a little bit of warmth in the air, so it's very encouraging. Because I'll be honest, I'm not a big lover of the freezing cold weather, and I would have gone out and took some wintry scenes, but I will be honest, I wasn't feeling very well last week. Yeah, just here. just on by Oxon Business Park in Shelton. You've got this nature reserve, and it has actually got quite a deepish looking pond in the middle. So what year is that from? If you follow up Clayton Way, that does lead eventually to Shrewsbury Hospice. Yeah, coming into the older part of Shelton now. I think this cottage probably goes back quite a way. Yeah, more cottages. I say these are, yeah, definitely 20th century. 1921.
To be honest, I'm disgusted that here in 2023 we're still seeing these face coverings lying discarded on the floor. I mean, people put them on for germs safety and then chuck them on the floor. I mean, where's the logic in that? And also they go into the water, down the drains into the water system, and they go in the sea and they cause absolute devastation. I mean, the last 3 years has been disgusting, really. The rant over.
Should we go and have a look at the church? See if it's open. We've had a lot of good luck with open churches, but I've got a feeling it might end here. Who knows? We'll find out soon. No, not open. Church of England church. Oh well. Yeah, it's great to see the new life emerging amongst old. I don't know if the Christians who attend this church know that an obelisk is actually a symbol of the penis of Osiris, which was cut off by his brother Set in ancient Egypt. I don't know if they know that here. Yeah, Shelton actually appeared in the Doomsday book shortly after the Norman conquest, when they were taking inventory of everything in the country as Saltone. Interesting, Alfred Watkins in the old straight track had a lot of theories about places with salt in the name. I may look them up and voice a bit over. I may look it up again and voice a bit over to explain it, because I've forgotten it right now. Oh, this lovely farmhouse just tucked away here. And I bet it were all fields around here when that was built. Although it wouldn't have featured on my 1886 pub list, because it was built pretty much when the Gaines Park estate was built over here. But this was a pub called the Welsh Harp, and it even had a bowling green right about here. And as you can see, it's now co-op, and you've even got a Greggs here. Yeah, right up there is a camper van site and caravan site. And I've actually watched a few YouTube videos of camper van people driving out of here and doing videos on Shrewsbury. So it's almost like I'm doing a filming location. So yeah, this is the Welsh Pool Road out of Shrewsbury, and it actually is Bicton, so it's a bit out of the remit for today's video, but they're building a lot of houses up here, and it certainly isn't all fields now on this side. It's going to be all houses. Yeah, we're making our way back up the Welsh Pool Road. Just going to close the loop now and take in a few other points of interest here in Shelton. And this is the Grapes, one of the pubs of this area. It's also a food pub. I think it does fusion cuisine, or it did last time I read about it. I've never been. Yeah, Ego. It's going to be pretty good if you like that fusion. You know, all different cuisines, all in the same restaurant. Yeah, I think this was like the gatehouse or something to do with Shelton Hospital, which we're going to go and have a bit of a look at now. Yeah, Shelton Hospital was a hospital that specialised in mental health. It's very well known if you lived in Shrewsbury. Really, like, Shelton was almost like a byword for mental hospital in the area. But it shut in 2012 and stood empty for a couple of years. When I used to drive past it, this was long before I had the YouTube channel, I always used to think to myself, oh, I wish I had a YouTube channel. I'd go and investigate that place. But I didn't. But now I do. But it's been completely redeveloped and it's all luxury apartments. We'll go and have a little look. Yeah, there is supposed to be a footpath just south of here. I had a look for it, I couldn't see it anywhere, but it was on an 1860s Ordnance Survey map and it was listed as a Roman road. And there is a street a mile or so over there called Roman Road. So there must have been a Roman road, say a shot, I would take a shot every time I say that, around this area somewhere, but there's no trace of it now. Yeah, it does look very Victorian. Dare I say it, Arkham Asylum-ish. Does that bit look like it was added on to? I don't know. But it certainly has got that that vibe, that kind of old time mental hospital vibe, if that makes sense. You know, it's the architecture really. But I'm sure that a lot of human interest stories played out here over the years. When I was a teenager, I had a mate, it was when I was at college, whose mum just lived a few streets over that way. And I'd go around sometimes and you would hear this really spooky sounding alarm go off sometimes, and I didn't know what it was at first. I asked my mate, what is that alarm? And he said it's the sound of a patient when they put that alarm on when a patient escapes from the hospital. So yeah, something you get used to, I suppose, if you live around that area or this area. But the actual hospital moved to another site, a newly built site, which is just over that way. I'd actually parked by it, so I grabbed a shot. It's about a quarter of a mile away. All redwoods. So treatment continues. That is not the Shelton Oak. Yeah, otherwise known as Glendower's Observatory, the Shelton Oak stood for 800 years right around here. And it was thought that Owen Glendower in 1403 was going to join the Battle of Shrewsbury on the side of Harry Hotspur. But he brought his army from Wales, from up here, from the North Wales Road, as far as the northwestern side of Shrewsbury, climbed the tree, saw that Harry Hotspur's father hadn't joined the battle and decided he wasn't going to join in either. And he saw that from the top of an oak tree, very similar to that one, but it's not here now. Yeah, the Shelton Oak would have been just around there somewhere. But they said, I'll show you a picture of it now.
And the image comes from a very old postcard.
But it is said that it was big enough to get 20 people inside it, because it had like a hole in it, you know, like a little place where you'd put a door, but I don't think it had a door. The Shelton Oak was felled in the mid-1930s when the Shrewsbury bypass was being built. This was the external Shrewsbury bypass road back then in 1933, but now it's an internal ring road, as it's got houses all the way round it. Shrewsbury has grown, but like I said, the remains of Shelton, the Shelton Oak, we got rid of them, but it was a very old tree at that time, and I think it had had its day. You know, it was ready for coming down, as trees do have a life cycle. An oak tree's just a longer life cycle. But as one oak tree was felled, another oak grew. A few years, 5 years after the bypass was built, a pub was built here, quite a nice looking Art Deco pub.
So the Oak, the Art Deco pub built in 1939, would have been the first building that you saw if you were approaching Shrewsbury from Mid Wales, Welshpool Road, or from the North Wales Holyhead Road. This image is from the Shropshire Star.
That stood here from the 1930s to about the year 2000, when it was pulled down and this small estate of houses was built behind it. Shelton Oak. Near this site stood the Shelton Oak, from which, according to a tradition recorded in late 18th century, Owen Glendower viewed the Battle of Shrewsbury on 31st of July 1403. This tree was planted by the Mayor of Shrewsbury Council, Mrs. Jean Marsh, on 27th of January 1981, and was presented by Major W. Manners MBE. So that's this oak tree. This is the successor to the Shelton Oak, or Owen Glendower's observatory. But very thoughtfully, the builders put this obelisk, I'd call it an obelisk, a commemorative obelisk here, with designs on two sides. You've got the memorial of the Shelton Oak, Owen Glendower hiding in his observatory, or the tree, just to see what was going on in the battle. He didn't like the look of it, and he went back to Oswestry. Then you have Thomas Telford above Owen Glendower. Of course, his stamp is all over this area, with his Holyhead Road just going that way is New Holyhead Road, running right through Shrewsbury. We have talked about it on some of our Lion Hotel videos. I'll leave a link to the ones where we do in the description. But yeah, Holyhead Road, 1815 to 1826. And of course, the toll roads, you know, toll cottages on the Holyhead Road didn't charge Irish MPs to make it as easy as they could for them to get to Westminster. It was quite a long journey, especially in those days. I'd have had a sore bum after sitting in one of those rickety carriages for literally days and days, but they had to do it. Yeah, and here you have the Romans. As I said, a Roman road just ran nearby here. Of course, they were all over this area, vernaculum and such like the detail on the standard. Yeah, I'm not sure about these 4 persons on horses. Maybe they're Welsh cloth merchants or something. I'm not sure. They're just listed as 4 people on a horse. But I'm not sure. But maybe they had something to do with the Welsh wool trade. So thank you for watching to the end of today's third rate content. It's been another interesting one. I've very much enjoyed our walk around Shelton, and I've learned a few things. I hope you have too. But thanks for watching to the end. Hope you enjoyed. But if you're still here now, there's a chance that you did it somewhat enjoy. But if I don't see you soon, I'll see you 3 times as soon. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and by all means, do comment if you'd like to. I do love a good comment, and I reply where applicable. So thanks very much. See you soon. Bye bye.